Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Namaste. I hope you're doing well. And thank you for joining today's stream here. We will be talking about a very interesting topic again. Be a force for good. So, but before we go into that, let's make sure that the sound is okay. If somebody in Twitch or YouTube can just give us a thumbs up that you're able to hear us very well, that would be very welcome. Okay, thank you so much. And so we will first have our Goranga deep breathing meditation, so we can calm our minds, we can relax the body. We've all had busy days, most likely, many things to do. And now, this is our special time where we are not going to be busy. We're not going to be jumping all over the place, thinking about so many things, worrying about so many things, but rather we will focus our attention onto our breath first, and then afterwards onto the mantra Goranga. So first, just observe your breath. Let it be the way it is flowing. Throughout the day, we have a tendency to breathe a little bit shallow, not deep abdominal breathing usually. But that's what we will be trying to practice right now. When you inhale through the nose, you will see how you inhale deeply into your abdomen. So you will see the abdomen will expand and get bigger. And then as you exhale, preferably out of the mouth, then the abdomen contracts and goes back to its original state. So let's do that again. Let's do this 3 more times. And now we will be adding the mantra Goranga to our deep breathing. So when we inhale, we will mentally say in our mind Goranga. And then when we exhale, we will say it out loud. So now you have to exhale through your mouth, and it will be like this. Inhale. Goranga. So you inhale for about 5 seconds, you hold maybe for 3-4 seconds, and then as you exhale, you can exhale for 5 seconds again. Goranga. 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 Two more times. Goranga. Goranga. Let's have a few moments of silence and relaxation. Maybe you can hear the birds chirping in the background. And now we will have our music meditation. We will use also the mantra Gauranga again. So let's have some moments of silence and introspection. Now that we're feeling a little more relaxed, let us consider what is the most important, the most dear to my existence. Who or what? You can relax for a few more moments. Okay. Now, it's actually very important that we are in a calm and composed state of mind whenever we make decisions, whenever we have interactions with others. Maybe it is a little bit challenging, and we need to wisely consider, how do I respond? How do I handle this situation? It's always important that we do not act impulsively, we don't overreact, we don't give in to the urges of the mind and certain emotions, that we are actually the person who's making conscious decisions. How do I want to handle this? How do I want to have the best possible outcome? And that is one of the big keys of mindfulness, that we consider the impact of our actions, not only to ourselves, but to all others involved. So, today's subject is actually very relevant in this regard, because many people, they're trying to do something good in their human journey, right? And people have different concepts, of course, what is good and what is not so good. We have a question here, we'll get to that a little bit later. But basically, we will be looking at today's topic, Be a Force for Good, from the context of trying to be a leader, trying to be a leading by example. And so it is often said that actions speak louder than words, right? So we're not just interested in just speaking or trying to convince others, but rather it is through actions of kindness, for example, that will inspire others to act in a similar manner. So over the last year and a half especially, it has become more obvious to many people on this planet here that actually this existence here in the material world is full of problems. Yes, so we know that other living entities cause us problems. We know that our mind, our body can cause us many problems. And we know that material nature, um, natural disasters especially, can cause people a lot of problems. So material nature actually inherently causes problems to all the living beings here in this material dimension. It's actually not a coincidence, it's not an accident, it's not something that can be changed, because that's what the material dimension is meant to be. If we want to have a perfect, always blissful, carefree, problem-free type of experience, then we're on the wrong dimension. That is what the spiritual dimension is all about. But in this material dimension, when we, the eternal living being, comes here, then we get a material body. And this material body is temporary, which means it has a start date and will have an end date. And then we leave this body and we will continue to exist. Now, usually people don't want to think about it so much when their body is younger, but we hear it. Yeah, we hear that, oh, as the body gets older and older, the problems will get bigger and bigger. Yeah, there will be more pains, less energy, more problems, maybe some diseases. And eventually this body will break down and force us to move on. And so the problems in this material dimension, and we haven't even mentioned diseases yet. Yeah, we're just talking about old age and the death of the body, but there's many diseases and problems along the way. Yeah, so the problems can be many, and at times they may seem to be insurmountable for certain people. And so the first appreciation, of course, that we must have is that we are not blood and bones. Yeah, we're not these temporary bodies. We're actually eternal spiritual beings, and we are meant to be experiencing real lasting happiness, joy, love, fulfillment, satisfaction. This all these longings come from the very core of our being. These are actually spiritual needs that must be fulfilled. But when we try to fulfill them here in the material dimension through material activities, then we will not really get what we're looking for. We may get some temporary excitement, stimulation, but it wears off very quickly, and it doesn't give us that full taste that we're looking for. That's why we'll always continue to look. We're always looking for more, right? So anyways, so we have set the stage here. So this is what we are at. So we have to do the best we can given the situation that we are in. Yeah, we cannot try to change the world. We cannot try to change everybody around us, but we can try to be a good example. We can try to be a force for good, and we can try to be a real leader, even if it's just for one or two others. You know, we don't have to be, changing the whole community or so. So what does it actually mean to be a force for good and to be a real leader? So this is a big and important question. So a real leader, they will actually not be living for themselves. Yeah, they will not be considering all the time, how can I get more? How can I get ahead? Basically just living for myself. Yes. So there's a saying, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And this is absolutely true. It gives us actually more happiness when we are giving in love rather than we're always thinking about how can I get more? I want to take more, and so we have this anxiety, that we will not get what we want. And then when we have it, we think somebody, oh, I'm going to lose it, I'm going to lose it. Oh, and then somebody steals it or I lose it, and oh, I'm so depressed. So a real leader is actually not controlled by either lust, or greed or anger. Just like, wow, they're actually in control of their mind, their emotions, their desires. So, and because of this, a true leader will also not be overcome by darkness and challenges, setbacks in this material dimension. Yes, so we have to always be aware of the fact that things don't work out the way we want most of the time in this world. Yeah, sometimes it may seem to be going well, but many times not. Yeah, so like, for example, if you're taking a 1-week vacation somewhere on the beach, what's the first thing that you will notice? Oh, it's too windy. Oh, it's too cold. Or it's too rainy. Oh, I cannot enjoy the beach. I cannot be in the sunshine and floating on the water or something. Yeah. So because maybe and then they talk about it later when they get back home and to their friends or family. Oh yeah, 2 days were really, really nice. Good weather and everything. The other days are not so great. So that's the thing. We're not in control of the external world situation around us, and so we notice very quickly things always change in this material dimension. Yeah, so but we should always focus on the solutions, not dwell on the problems. There's little benefit in cursing the darkness, but rather it's much more effective if we can light just one candle. Yeah, so we should always consider, how can we possibly improve a particular situation, no matter how bleak things may look? Yes, so a real leader, they don't give up. They're always thinking, what can I do to try to help, everybody involved in a particular situation? So, and of course, like we said, a real leader, they will know that things will always change, and sometimes things will be looking good and sometimes they'll be looking down. Yeah, so up and down, good and not so good. So one of the real problems that many people have, especially the younger generation, when they haven't had many experiences in this material dimension yet, they have very unrealistic expectations. Yeah, so they actually really feel, and you can't really blame them, because society at large is propagating these ideas. Yeah, they're basically hypnotizing us to think that this world is a great place. We can find eternal happiness here. We can find real love, purpose, satisfaction, all of the above, perfect shelter, and just go for it. Yes, you will find it. Everybody will find it. Yeah, that's basically the message. Yeah, and so, but then how does it turn out? Yeah, hopeful 16 turns into a hopeless 60 sometimes. Yeah, when you talk to the 16-year-old person, oh, they have so many dreams and so many hopes, and just like, oh yeah, I want to become this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then let's fast forward 44 years, and now their body is 60 years old. So how did that all turn out? Just like, and how many hopes do you have now? No, they know it's coming. We're much closer to the end of this human journey now. And they have experienced the realities of this material dimension, that actually we should have realistic expectations, not unrealistic expectations. Yeah, so what is unrealistic? We already mentioned that. Yeah, we cannot find perfect happiness, peace, and shelter in this material world. We cannot find real security in this world. There's this saying, yeah, don't build your home at the seashore at low tide. You can see that sometimes with children. Yeah, they build these beautiful, can spend hours doing that, and they play, and then here they build a little ditch around the castle, and there's the water from the ocean goes here and there, and they play, and oh my gosh, they're so happy, they just created this beautiful castle. during low tide. What do you think happens overnight when the high tide comes in? Or maybe even before, some other dog runs over it, or some people, oops, I didn't see it. They just step right on it. Yeah. So it will not last. Yeah. Everybody knows that. If you come back the next day or two, oh, where's my castle? No more sandcastle. Yeah. So that's why it is said, yeah, we must have realistic expectations that yes, things can work out okay if we know how to navigate this material dimension. If we know what we can realistically expect, and it basically means there's going to be a duality, yeah, of pleasant things, unpleasant things, and we just basically have to accept that this is the nature of this material dimension. Yeah. So, but the key thing to remember is that for a real leader, they will always consider the well-being of all living beings, and they're ready to serve. They're servant leaders. So they're not in this self-centered consciousness, like with endless, ever-changing desires of all these things that I must have. So now let's consider the second point today, which is how can we bring about positive changes and be forces for good? And this will answer one of the questions here from the chat earlier. There's two questions already. One is, what do you mean society is hypnotizing us? Okay, so basically, if we hear something over and over and over again, then we actually consider that this is true and that this is the goal. And we actually follow this, even though it may be a mirage. Yeah, just like when you're in the desert and somebody keeps on telling you, oh, look, there's beautiful water over there, water, water, water. And there's this glitter and you think it's water, right? And somebody else keeps telling you, and you're walking there, maybe from a sand dune, it's maybe 1 kilometer away. And as you're walking there, and it takes you maybe 15 minutes because it's so hot and people, you're walking slowly, maybe you're really tired and thirsty, but they keep saying, there's water, there's water, there's water, yeah, there's happiness, basically, there's relief, and you just believe it. So you're basically becoming hypnotized, even though you know that every time before you were in a similar situation, the mirage has always turned out to be unreal. There is no water there. It was just some reflection of something. And so similarly in this world, when we hear especially all these advertising and commercials, this will make you happy, that will make you happy. And we hear it every day for so many years, especially if people, expose themselves to that, from a very young childhood. It's like we're becoming programmed or hypnotized to think and believe and accept certain things that might not be true at all, that are certainly not in our best interest. So another question here, how come that in the society doing good is considered bad by many? Is there a general guideline of what is good and what is bad? And then there's a third question. I think the tricky part is knowing what is really good and what not. Yeah. Okay. So basically, this is often the challenge. Yeah. That it may seem to be relative. What is good to you may be not good for somebody else, and vice versa. And so people can have these endless debates and disagreements, basically. And you can see that nowadays in many societies where there's completely different views on things. There are certain values here that are almost diametrically opposed to values over there, but both of them are firmly convinced that what they believe is good. Yeah. So if we want to bring about positive changes and be forces for good, of course, then we have to be not just blind believers. Yeah, we have to really, in a systematic manner, we have to analyze, is this good for me? Is this good for others? Is this creating a better future, a better society? So we have to be sincere. We have to want to know the truth. And And that might involve that some of the beliefs or values that I hold might actually not be completely true. They might not be in the best interest of everybody involved. Yeah. So if we're introspective and we're honest with ourselves, probably at some point in this particular lifetime on this human journey, we probably held some beliefs that were not so good for others or for society at large. Yeah. So we need to really know what is truly good, what really helps others. So and of course, so then we have to look at the different views that are being proposed. And we can also see what is the outcome of such a path, the result. What is the future of such a society if everybody followed or acted on this particular belief? And it's actually usually not that difficult to see. And then you can see, okay, this leads to a more harmonious society. People will become more peaceful, more selfless, more caring. They're not going to be exploitative, not so self-centered, and so forth and so on. Yeah. So it's really nothing new. I mean, this is all ancient wisdom. I'm not, inventing any of this. We're just passing on the ancient wisdom that we have been given by some very great saintly teachers. And so if we want to help, then we need to know how to help. Yeah. So having a caring attitude is very, very good, but it's actually not enough, because we might be walking down the street and there is some very poor homeless person and we're feeling so sad and, oh, let me give him some money. Well, this person is a drug addict. Your donation of money just helps him to get his next shot of some drug, and then he's going to be more addicted and more unhealthy, and he's not moving in the right direction, basically. Yeah. So we have to consider what can help that person move towards a better direction. So maybe we give them a banana or an apple or something nice that is actually of real practical benefit. Yeah. So we need to have more advanced knowledge in a sense. Yeah, we need to have real wisdom, not just passing beliefs that from one day to the next it changes. Yeah. So there's another good example in this regards. Let's say there's an accident and there are two persons who want to help an injured person. And so the person without knowledge could make things actually worse. Yeah, because maybe there's a car wreck and the person is stuck behind their steering wheel and they're having really hard time getting that person out of the car. And so the person who is not a licensed or trained medical person, doctor or nurse or so, they don't know about the anatomy of the body, and they may just grab the person and try to get them out of their car seat, and they actually maybe breaking their ribs or doing something harmful to the person's body in process. Whereas if a doctor who has a knowledge, they both have the same caring intention, don't get me wrong, yeah, but the doctor will know what he can do without possibly making things worse. Yeah, so he will look and see, okay, if I do this, that could be dangerous in that way. So that is not such a safe option. And then he's thinking, what else can we possibly do here? Maybe from the other side. Yeah. So in any case, we always want to focus on the solution. Yeah. And so we need to have this wisdom, this is so invaluable, because then we know what is the goal of this human existence. How can I actually move toward a better future? And then when we have this path, we have this direction, then we know what is going to help me move forward, which are detours that help me kind of wander off to this side, and which things are actually moving backwards, which taking me in the wrong direction. And so this is basically why we have a need for teachers about every subject in this world, practically speaking, because without this, with the real knowledge, we will not be moving forward in that desired direction. Yeah. So when it comes to being a force for good, then of course we need to have some type of teacher, some wisdom, where people can, on a practical level, maybe it's just at first the parents and some teachers, they can teach the children, for example, how to be kind and caring to others, become respectful to other living beings, don't harm them, and so forth and so on. Yes. So if everybody did this, oh wow, the world would be a better place. So like we said, we need to have this desire to want to help, to want to care. We should not be becoming hopeless, feeling, oh, the things are so bad in this world. There is no good. There is no solution. So always, we're basically overwhelmed by the darkness. Yeah. So we should not become pessimistic, or we should be realistic. We should not become depressed or hopeless. That is, don't let this darkness control your life. We should actually come under the influence of real love, spiritual love, true love. And love is actually the strongest force in existence. Yes. So then when a person is loving, they will automatically be caring and kind and selfless. So and that is very different than somebody who is apathetic, who doesn't care, who might even get angry at others very easily, or why don't you accept my help or something. Or, a person who is a true leader, they will actually experience already this inner peace and happiness, and they want others to have that as well. Yes, so they're concerned about the suffering of others, and they're trying to help others. So another question might be, oh, here's a good comment. Empathy feels like an affliction in an apathetic world. So, oh, what is this? So actually, it's interesting because in this world, apathy has become so common, that we actually think it is more or less normal. Everybody's living for themselves. Now, when we are being encouraged to isolate more and more, then real friendships become harder, because we are relating from a distance, maybe only online. So actually having true empathy is a great virtue. It's very beneficial, but we need to do it in a way where we're not expecting something in return, because then we can easily get angry. This is the key. This is the key to real happiness. That's why they say, there's more happiness in giving than in receiving. If we're always having this mindset like a businessman, oh, I'm not getting as much as I'm giving, then, oh, I'm going to end this relationship. What is the point of this? So that's actually not going to help us. If you're running a business, of course, you have to be balancing your expenses and your revenue, right? You have to make sure you don't spend more than what you're getting. But relationships should not be treated like that. We shouldn't be treating people like things. So actually empathy is a very good quality. There's a good example here, actually, to know what is good. Living for ourselves, becoming more and more apathetic, callous, this is a dead-end road. It will help people become depressed. So another question here a person might have, how can we help during a crisis? We can only do so much, but we can lead with example, right? So a real leader, they will look to help both materially and spiritually. It's not that it should be only one or the other. Both are actually needed. So like we gave the example of the banana earlier, everybody needs to eat to keep their body and soul together. So if if you're giving somebody else some nice, healthy, fresh food, or you're doing a very nice service to them. So this will give you some happiness within. So this is also one thing that we experience here. When we are kind and caring to others, there is some sweetness, some taste inside that is actually really nice. It makes me feel better. But if I'm always mean and maybe harmful or hurting others, maybe I like to kill animals or whatever it might be, do you get that same feeling from inside? No, absolutely not. It's impossible. So we need to help people on a practical level. But if it's possible, if you have that capacity, if you have this wisdom, then it's also really, really beneficial if you can try to help people also on a spiritual level and try to go a little bit deeper, how to help people, with a longer range vision, because if we give somebody some food, that's great. That's good for here and now. But what about tomorrow and the day after? Yeah, that's why they say that it is better when you can help somebody to grow their own food rather than become dependent on you giving them food every day, right? Because now they can learn how to help themselves and they can feed themselves and their family, rather than just being dependent on the food bank or whatever it might be. So this is important, that as a real leader, we have to actually become very efficient. We use our time, our money, our energy, our resources in a very efficient way. And for that, we need to have the wisdom too. Yes, so we need to know how to best apply whatever we have in a certain situation. And so when we speak some spiritual truth, like we were talking about earlier about our identity a little bit, so we should try to speak in a caring, respectful manner. So that actually sometimes, of course, love can be tough, but at the same time, the motivation is the key. The motivation is that we're caring about others. Then sometimes we shouldn't be looking and generalizing that the external action always has to be the same. So it will not be on a practical basis. So we can help with sharing foods, giving other people opportunities also, especially with teenagers. They're always looking for something to do. They're looking for a cause in their lives, for some purpose. So many times we hear this. It's just to live for themselves and play video games all day, for example, is not enough. It gives you great excitement, great fun for a while. You may be doing this for weeks and months on end, but after some time, sooner or later, you will feel, is there more to life? Is there something else I can do? And so for example, you can try to grow a garden if you have a little bit of piece of land, or maybe you have pots, maybe if you have a balcony or something, and then you can share fresh fruits, vegetables, etc., with those in need. So that is something very practical, something nice that can be done. And if you are so inclined, then you can try to assist others spiritually, so that people actually, whatever we gain materially, we will only keep for a certain time. We will lose it sooner or later, at the latest, when this body comes to an end. But whatever we gain spiritually, spiritual qualities, assets, spiritual merit, this will stay with us. This will stay with me, the eternal living being. So when this body comes to an end, I will continue to exist, and I will have still all these spiritual gains, so to speak. I will not lose that. So So the most important thing is that we can actually have a change of heart. We can have a change of consciousness that will actually benefit us the most, but it will also benefit those around us. We're all looking for real happiness. Yeah. And it can be such a struggle to find that here in this material dimension. Yeah. Hardly ever anyone who we know ever seems to be truly situated in real lasting happiness for more than a few moments here or there. So why is that? So we need to consider, what is our true spiritual nature, our real function? So we're actually eternally living beings. Yeah. So the nature of each living being is actually to serve. Like we said that before, yeah. This gives us some happiness when we are doing something nice for somebody else, especially when we're not expecting something in return. So, but if we're always thinking of getting, taking, we're not experiencing that same happiness. Yeah. So we might be experiencing some excitement. Oh, I found $20 on the street, and I'm not going to return it to the owner. I can enjoy this myself, and then it's gone, and it's gone. Yeah. And so then, and there might be some karmic reaction that in the future we will have to experience for that. So, but if we can live now here according to spiritual guidelines, spiritual wisdom, then we can begin to live in harmony with our eternal function and purpose. And when we are acting on our true function and we're making an offering to the supreme of our existence, then we will actually be experiencing real lasting happiness. So there's a comment here, but Bodhisattva don't attain true enlightenment. This is actually true. So I'm glad you bring this up, because there are three stages of spiritual enlightenment. The first one is when the person is interested in merging with the spiritual effulgence. This is at the beginning of the spiritual realm. This is the first type of spiritual experience, or so-called enlightenment. And this is what they call like a bodhisattva. They are in that condition where they temporarily experiencing this beautiful spiritual blissful condition where they are feeling like they are merged, like they have become one with everything. But we cannot stay in that condition forever, because the nature of the soul is to be active and to have loving relationships. So, and then they say the bodhisattva is coming out of this merged condition, but because they're having this desire for relating to others, they come back down to this material dimension, and then they teach others about the experience. And this is what is called a bodhisattva. But they're not fully satisfied, fully spiritually enlightened yet. It's the first of three steps or spiritual realizations. And this is a long subject, but according to ancient wisdom, a person has to move on from that to become fully spiritualized, fully enlightened. So, okay, so thank you so much for all these good questions today. And let's have a few more minutes of this Goranga mantra meditation. It's actually the spiritual sound, this mantra, is coming from the spiritual realm, and because of this, it is all purifying and all pure. And our hearts and mind can actually become purified of all the darkness, all the problems, or the negativity that are currently covering it here in this material dimension. So when we are regularly practicing this Goranga mantra meditation, we will experience many, many benefits. And one of them is that our hearts and our mind become more clear, become cleansed of misgivings, of misunderstandings. So you can just sing along or listen. This is not a musical performance. We are doing this. This is our journey for self-realization, for experiencing who we really are. Govanga, 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 Thank you very much, everybody. I wish you all the best. Have a nice rest of your day. And I can assure you, if you practice this Goranga deep breathing or this Goranga deep music meditation just every day for 5 or 10 minutes, will have a very, very beneficial impact on your journey to greater happiness. Yeah, what we're all looking for. So thank you so much, and we hope to see you again next time.